Good morning, my dear students. So, after a long time, we are again back into the online platform. As we all know that global coronavirus is going outside, so we, as per the regulation of the government, we need to stay back at home and we need to learn and go through the syllabus. Okay, because as far as I believe that your examination will definitely be in offline mode and not in online mode. So anyway, let's see what the situation happened. So we were starting the chapter the circulatory system, right? As per as I remember that I have taken your class, and one class I have taken on this, two class I have taken, one on describing what circulation is and another one is the very first part of the chapter. Yet don't worry, I know that you all have already forgotten that, so we'll be starting from the beginning. Okay, so open chapter number 8, circulatory system. The first one is need for transport inside the body. Why circulation is important or why it is needed to have circulatory system in our body. First, every organ in our body requires the involvement of the circulating fluids. For example, the digestive system digests and absorbs nutrients which are needed to be transported to every cell of the body. The respiratory system draws in air and oxygen picked up from it in the lungs has to be transported to all part of the body. Similarly, the CO2 collected from the entire body has to be carried out to the lungs to be exhaled out of the body. All the extra water, excess salt and the nitrogenous waste such as urea have to be removed from different parts and have to be sent to the excretory system to be thrown out of the body. Now hormones secreted by the endocrine system have to be carried through throughout the body by the circulatory blood to act whenever required and so on. So all these things, as we will see, that it needs this particular circulation. Without circulation, these hormones or respiratory system, gas, digestive system, digestive enzymes, these cannot go to all part of the body, right? All such functions that need transport are performed by two circulating fluids. What are they? The number one is blood and number two is lymph. Fluids in our body. There are three principal fluids in our body. The first one is blood, second one is tissue fluid, and the third one is the lymph. Now we will directly go to the color differentiation. This I have already told you all. Again, the arteries or the oxygenated blood are marked as red, whereas the deoxygenated blood are marked in blue, right? Now see, non-circulating fluids, there are also some other fluids located in particular organs such as the synovial fluid filled in the cavities of the skeletal joint, vitreous humors in the eyes, etc., that they do not circulate. Clear? The properties of blood: it is never stationary, it does not stop at any of the point. Color is somewhat, the blood is somewhat thick fluid, bright red when taken from the artery and dark red when taken out from the vein. Volume, it have 5 to 6 liter in an average. Taste, it is light salt taste. I have given you the example and you all have laughed very much that who have tasted blood. It is slightly salt taste. The function of blood. The main function of blood in our body can be treated under two broad headings. First is transport and the second one is protection. Transport by blood, transport of digested food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, excretory substances, hormones, body heat, etc. Transport of the digested food, definitely whatever we eat is digested in our stomach, but from that it need to be reached to every and each part of the cell, right? So it is transported. Transport of oxygen from the lungs to the tissue, transport of carbon dioxide, same as oxygen is transported from the lungs to the tissue, and from tissue to the lungs carbon dioxide is being transported. Transport of excretory materials from the tissue to the liver, kidney or the skin of the alimentation or to render them harmless. Distribution of the hormones and distribution of the heat. Okay, so these are the transport mechanism which are being given by the blood. Now coming to the protection by blood. Blood forms a clot whenever there is a cut in the blood vessel. The clot serves to prevent further loss of blood and the entry of disease causing germs. I already told that the platelets forms a clot like formation. Its white blood corpuscles protect the body from disease by engulfing bacteria which may have entered the body. It produces antitoxins and antibodies which neutralize the poisonous substances or kill the germs which enters the body. Now, composition of blood. The blood consists of two parts. First is the plasma part and second one is the cellular part. Now, the plasma part consists of fluid part, constitute 55 to 60% of the blood, and the cellular elements contains 40 to 45%, which consist of red blood cell, white blood cell and platelets. Coming to the plasma. The liquid portion of the blood, the plasma is a light yellow colored alkaline liquid. It mainly consists of water 90 to 92%, protein 7 to 8%, inorganic salt 1% and other substances are very traces found. Okay. The inorganic salt mainly includes sodium chloride, sodium bicarbonate. Among other substances contained in the plasma are glucose, amino acid, fibrinogen, hormones, urea, etc. So I hope you have understood, right? Now coming to the cellular elements. What are the cellular elements? They are red blood cell, white blood cell and blood platelets. So red blood cell or erythrocytes, white blood cell or leukocytes and blood platelets or thrombocytes. So RBC, the oxygen carrier, red blood cell are also called the erythrocytes. These are minute biconcave disc-like structure. Okay, they are biconcave in nature. Remember this. Flat in the center and thick and rounded at the periphery. These are very small, about 7 micron in diameter. The small size plus the concavities on either side provides a large surface area which make them very efficient in absorbing particular oxygen. Clear? So these all I have already discussed, yet I am just giving you a revision of this part. The small size enables the red blood cell to travel through very fine capillaries in the body where they have to travel in a single file. Now coming to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is effective chemical constituent of RBC. The red blood cell have a colorless spongy body or stroma which contains a respiratory pigment which is known as hemoglobin, or which we write it as HB, H capital B small. The hemoglobin is formed of an iron containing part hemin and a protein, that is the globin. It has the ability to combine readily with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, an unstable compound which readily gives up oxygen to the needy tissues. Hemoglobin can carry very small quantity of carbon dioxide in the form of carbanomy hemoglobin. Okay, this is a very small quantity. Okay, now there is another point. It is correct to say that vein carries CO2 and no oxygen? No, not at all. As I have already told you that we take in air and we give out air. Now the content of oxygen that in the air that we take in is more than the one which we give out. So definitely in vein there will be oxygen but in less quantity. Now life and death of RBC. In adult, the RBC are produced in the marrow of long bones, especially in the rib, breastbone and ileum of hip girdle. In the embryo, they are produced in the liver and spleen. In children, the RBC is produced in bone marrow of all bone until 5 years of age. The mature red blood cell have no nuclei, but when they are being produced, they have one. As they mature, the nuclei are lost. The average lifespan of RBC is about 120 days. The old and the weak red blood cells are destroyed in the spleen, liver and bone marrow. The normal adult, approximately 2 million RBCs are destroyed every second. In other words, about 1% of the total erythrocytes in the body are destroyed every day. Okay. Now coming to WBC, or the white blood cell, also known as leukocytes, differ from red blood cell in having a nucleus and not containing hemoglobin. Their number is much less, about 4,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cube. I have also told you that they engulf foreign substances. Okay, most WBC are amoeboid and can produce pseudopodia, through which they can squeeze through the wall of the capillaries into the tissue. Based on the shape and other characteristics of white blood cell are classified into two major categories. One is granular, another one is non-granular, and 5 distinct types are given in the figure. Now leukemia and leukopenia. Leukemia is the cancer of the tissue forming WBC whose number increase manifold at the cost of RBC. It is usually a fatal disease. Currently the treatment is only blood transfusion. What happens? The amount of WBC lessens the amount of RBC. Now leukopenia is the abnormal decrease in the number of WBC. Clear? The function of leukocytes, phagocytosis is very important. Mark this. This is the process in which most WBC and particularly the neutrophils engulfs particle like solid substance, especially bacteria. This is a defensive mechanism against disease germs, and abnormal increase in WBC count up to 50,000 or more per cubic mm indicates some infection in the body. Okay. Now, inflammation occurs due to the reaction of the tissue to injury and to localized invasion of germs. So what happens when the germs enters our body? It inflammate. Okay. The inflamed spot has several characteristics: increased local heat, redness, swelling, pain, etc. Here the leukocytes migrates to the wall of the blood vessels by diabetes and fight against the disease causing germs. They also destroy and damage the cell by phagocytosis. Now is push. What is push? PUS. PUS is mainly composed of dead white blood cell together with the tissue cell destroyed by the bacteria. Okay. So it is like after the fight they all are been they all are killed. So that thing is known as push. Formation of antibodies. The WBC, especially the lymphocytes, produce antibodies which kills to or neutralize the germs or the poisonous from them. Introducing weakened germ or germ substances or vaccines during vaccination stimulates formation of particular antibodies which at a later period would destroy the particular disease causing germs if they enter into the body. Clear? Okay, now coming to blood platelets or the thrombocytes. They are the initiator of clotting of blood. So what happens when there is a cut or injury in our body? These particular thrombocytes or platelets forms a matrix like formation and it stops the bleeding from outside. Function of platelets: clotting of blood, or what we known as coagulation. Okay, this part is important. When a blood vessel is cut, blood escapes from it, but soon a clot is formed on the wound and the flow of the blood is stopped. If it is not so, the injured person would bleed to death. Clotting, also called coagulation, occurs in a series of steps as follows. Okay, now this is what the injured tissue cell and the platelets which disintegrates at the site of the wound release a substance which is known as thrombokinesis, also called thromboplastin. The thrombokinesis acts as an enzyme, and with the help of calcium ion present in the plasma, it converts into a substance called prothrombin, which is inactive, into thrombin, which is active. Vitamin K, a fat soluble vitamin, is essential for production of prothrombin. Clear? Thrombin is the presence of calcium ion reacts with the soluble fibrinogen of the plasma to convert it into insoluble fibrin. Fibrin is a solid substance that forms thread. This microscopic thread of fibrin are sticky and form a network of or mesh at the wound. Blood cells are trapped in the network of the fibrin. The network then shrinks and squeezes out the rest of the plasma, which form a clear liquid called the serum. The solid mass which is left behind is called the clot, and thus our particular blood does not flow. Now, blood clotting in a test tube, what happens? It is a wrong notation that clotting is dependent on the exposure of blood to air. No, not at all. In fact, clotting can be caused by the movement of the blood over a rough surface as on cholesterol deposit inside the blood vessel. Hemophilia is a genetic disorder in which blood does not clot properly due to lack of blood clotting proteins. Also, in case where the number of platelets falls to an abnormal low count, coagulation occurs very slowly and often leads to hemorrhage. Such a situation occurs in disease as in the viral dengue fever, which has taken hundreds of lives in Delhi and other states of India since 1996 till death. Clear? So I hope up till this it is clear to you all. In the next session we will start from blood transfusion and blood groups. Okay. So this whatever I have taught you right now is already been completed in the class. This is just a revision class where I know that you all have forgotten all the thing, so you just have recalled whatever I have taught you. Okay, in the next class we will be continuing with the next part of the chapter. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of your family, stay home, stay safe, stay happy, and please study hard because you have all just few months left for your examination. We'll be meeting in the next online video tutorial. Thank you.